Welcome to Jenine Marie Hypnosis, where today we're going to talk about the emotional connections to back issues. Stick with me. Hi there, this is Jenine Marie, and welcome to 2024, or whatever year you happen to be watching. This promises to be a fantastic year. Do you agree with me? Whatever you go through or whatever you experience in this year, make it the best year ever. Today, I'm going to reveal my 2 words for the beginning of the year. Yours might be different, but these are mine. Propel higher. Propel higher. What does that mean? Oh my goodness. It means vibrate higher, go higher, think higher, believe higher, understand higher, just get into higher wisdom. And so that's the aim of the game for me. I hope that your words have been chosen for this year. If you don't do that, that's cool. But I like to have some focus, Really good to have focus. We're going to get started on back problems today. And if you're having them, some of your emotional stuff that's inside of you could be the cause, and most likely is the cause, because emotions cause the motion of the physical ocean. Here we go. I'll see you in a minute. Well, hello. We're going to talk about back problems and how our emotions are connected to those problems, because if you've been watching or if you've been reading other spiritual teachers or listening to them, such as Louise Hay, Dolores Cannon, Julia Cannon, Deepak Chopra, and many, many others, you know that they firmly believe, as I do, that the emotions are there in order to accomplish something in our lives. They're there for a reason, and if they're not expressed in the appropriate way, or if they're not expressed at all, our bodies can have harm done to them, and our bodies actually suffer from the emotions that go unexpressed and undealt with. So today we're going to talk about what happens when, or situations that happen that cause back issues. Okay, so number one, this is something I repeat over and over. The spine is your lifeline. You are as young as your spine is flexible. And if you're having some spinal problems and you're able to, do some gentle yoga. Gentle yoga is so important. You don't have to compete with anybody else. You don't have to compete with yourself. You can go just as far as your stretching will allow you, and you can just allow your emotions to be expressed as you perform yoga moves. And you'll notice there are certain moves like yoga for your hips, yoga for your back, the cat-cow movement, which is kind of goes up and down, with your back in the middle. And you will notice if you have problems in that area, you might end up expressing those emotions that bubble up and end up crying as you're doing your yoga. So be mindful of those things in those moments, because they're speaking to you. Your body is telling you that emotionally you need to attend to certain things, right? So you can also go to a chiropractor, in which, some people, it's a little controversial for them. Some people who go through a great deal of spinal issues have a lot of spinal stenosis, bulging discs, things like that. Some of those things can be addressed by chiropractors, but some cannot. It depends on the degeneration of your spine and what the condition is. So get some x-rays done, go and consult a professional, definitely. But you can go for a massage, and that can be highly beneficial. It relaxes all of the tension in the back. And if you'll notice, when you are very, very upset, especially if you're crying or if you're feeling very stressed, we tend to hunch our shoulders over like this instead of standing tall or sitting very tall. When I cry, I know I hunch over. That's kind of a spontaneous thing that we do. But, you know, even though we're emoting and releasing, we're still, you know, causing a lot of strain back here in the back of your neck and your shoulders. So we need to be mindful of that. Okay. So when we back away from the truth, I'm kind of looking at my notes because I write things down when I receive them spiritually. And if I don't, sometimes whoop, they're gone. The next spiritual thing is entering and I don't get it done. When we back away from the truth, it affects the back. And that means we're not being honest with other people, but number one, we're not being honest with ourselves. Sorry, my heater just went on. It's the air conditioner or the heater. I mean, it never fails, right? And in my office, it's just loud. So when you back away from the truth, it means you're not expressing the truth according to who you truly are. Either you're afraid to express the truth because you're afraid of loss. Someone might leave you. You might feel bad about yourself if you're not being honest and expressing your truth to yourself. It's so important that you express yourself as you are. How could you possibly heal anything in your life if you're not being honest with yourself about any of it? Communication is so very, very important, especially in relationships, with friendships, with your spouse, with your partner, your business partner, people who are your employer or that you employ. You need to be able to express yourself in a way that is highly vibrationally or high vibrationally communicative. And what I mean by that, not in a way that it won't be received correctly. You know, we don't want to degrade anybody by the truth, but we want to support and elevate people by the truth, even if it's something that's very hard for you to express or hard for them to hear. But it's very important to express it because your spine will be affected. Your spine is your lifeline, and it will be affected by your lack of expression of the real truth. And number one, being honest with yourself. If you can't look at your own self, and if you can't look at your own issues, then how can you ever express yourself correctly to anybody else? You need to do the emotional work. It's so important to do that. And if you need someone to express it with, go to a spiritual counselor, a spiritual coach. Go to someone who really believes that our emotions will affect our bodies, and they can give you some information at that time when you do your expression as to why you're experiencing some of the things in your back that you are. So, you know, a lot of this just ends up and begins with ourselves. We need to take care of the life that we've been given, and that includes expressing our truth to ourselves and being very honest, because your back will be affected. You back away from the truth, your back is going to suffer because of a lie. Lies bring degeneration of the bones. So, I mean, really think about this, really meditate on it, really consider it, because it's so important, okay? So the other one is being spineless. Are you overwrought with fear? If you're so afraid, and if, you know, some people say that they're shy. Shyness is something that I dealt with in one of my videos. Shyness is not a personality trait, folks. Shyness means fear. You are afraid. At some point in your life, fear entered into your emotional being and you sucked it in, and now that fear is still there and it's operating in your life. So if you're feeling like you're spineless, if you're afraid of speaking your truth to yourself, to others, usually it's to others, then your back is going to be affected. Your spine will be affected. Remember always, your spine is your lifeline. You are as strong as your spine will hold you. And that leads me to the next one, is that your back will be affected if you do not stand up for yourself. If you don't stand up for yourself, and that means in my defense, I'm going to speak my truth in a way that's honoring, in a way that will be received. In my defense, I'm going to be true to myself. I'm not going to back up. I'm not going to be spineless, but I'm going to stand up for myself. When you don't have the scaffolding in your back, which means you've got a lot of stenosis, it has a lot of wearing of, the spinal bone area, and the nerves are being affected, the discs are slipping back and forth, and sometimes they slip to the point where you actually have to have surgery. You cannot stand uprightly if you don't walk uprightly, and that means being absolutely true to yourself and with others. You need to stand up for yourself. That means defense. That means defense, not offense. We might receive offense, we might get offended, but defending yourself is like, think of yourself as being in a debate, like your opponent is over there on the other side, and they have brought before you a situation and you don't agree with it. And that is totally okay. We can agree to not agree. It doesn't mean we're right, it doesn't mean we're wrong, but our personal truth needs to be expressed, meaning we need to stand up for what we do believe is right. It's okay. We live in a world where we have so many conflicting ideas. And that is so great. We might not think it is, but that's only because we get offended when someone has a different truth. And that's something that we need to really watch out for. Offense will also cause us to have emotional issues that cause our bodies to be harmed due to that offensiveness. It is something that is not a function, but it's actually a dysfunction. So, check your dysfunctions. You need to be really, really careful. Your back is so important. You want to make sure that it is sturdy and it is strong enough. It is supported by your emotions, your abilities to express yourself and communicate, that it's supported by the truth, that it's supported by physical abilities to keep the muscles toned and keep everything flexible. Take care of your spine. Your spine, once again, is your lifeline, and you will live a wonderful, flexible, energetic life as long as you take care of your body, and especially your back, because it helps you stand up. When I'm going to end with this, when I used to take care of seniors in their homes, and quite often I worked with them when they were at the point of hospice care. But the number one thing that I often saw in people who were in their 70s is they needed help getting up and down. Their spine could not support them any longer. Many of them were in wheelchairs. Folks, this is so important. Your 70s is still a young age. You shouldn't be at a point where you cannot stand up for yourself and you can't lift yourself up. Okay, so, you also need strength in your hips, you need strength in your legs, and, all over your body. But I'm talking about the back this time. It's so important. I saw so many people hunched over, and it just broke my heart. And there was a promise that I made to myself after seeing it over and over and over again, that I was going to take care of my back and whatever it takes. And that means, okay, Jenine, deal with it. Deal with whatever it is that you don't want to talk about. Deal with it. If it makes you upset and angry, it's okay. Let it out. Deal with it. If it makes you cry, fine. If there are people around, alrighty then. Deal with it. And I'm going to pass that on to you, because I don't want you hunched over when you're older. a younger older. You know, you can live into your 90s and not be hunched over. You can. It's possible. It's probable. Anything is possible. Just believe it is. Understand that it is. And when you know what is the solution, work it. Work it. And that's another thing. Work it. Work it as much as you can. You know, sometimes I will get up and I'll put my earbuds in, my AirPods, and turn on my video, and I will get some dance music on, and I will work it. Work my hips, work my spine, work my shoulders, work my neck. And, you know, as long as you are able to do those movements, keep doing them, because it helps lubricate the joints. Work it. I'm telling you, lubricate those joints, whatever you can. If you have some limitations, once again, go and get checked out, see what they are, and then deal with the emotional things that have caused it. And if you need the assistance of a physician, then you will know. If you can receive the assistance of a chiropractor, that is absolutely amazing. If you get a good one, I used to go to a woman that is now maybe an hour away, and she was more of a holistic chiropractor. And it was a very gentle movement that she gave for me, or a gentle adjustment. The table adjusted instead of, you know, the back cracking, which I couldn't take. I didn't like it. But the release was amazing. And I would always leave her office in tears, because the emotions were being released that I had held that were causing the stiffness in my back to begin with, okay? So I hope this has been very, very helpful for you. Whatever you're going through in this brand new year, I just ask that you be blessed. If you're really hurting at this time, I send my love to you, and please receive that in any way that you possibly can. I just want to support you. If you need help, I will list my information in the description box below, and you can talk to me at any time. You know, book a session with me. I have a few different types of sessions that I provide, and I would love to work with you. Only QHHT is the one that I need to do absolutely in person, but others I can do by Zoom. So that includes energy healing and spiritual coaching. So, you know, let's get started on the right foot. Let's propel just a little bit higher in life, and let's vibrate a little bit higher in life, and get really knowledgeable of what makes us very healthy. So as we're healthy, we can do more things in life, right? And when we can do more things in life and we can help more people, we can interact more with community, and it makes our life so much more easier and much more worth living. Life is always worth living, but it makes it easier when we flow at ease, okay? So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask at any time. I'd love to answer your questions as well. Until then, I just like to say I'm loving you from here, and I will talk to you again very, very soon. Bye-bye.